How's it going, everybody? So I've been getting questions intermittently from people wondering what are they supposed to do when they get dry eyes on a ketogenic diet. So dry eyes is not a common symptom, but it may seem like it's common for some people just because it's an odd complaint that kind of gets singled out when you see people on message boards, on Reddit, and things like that. I think maybe one out of 10 people on a ketogenic diet are going to have dry eyes. And typically this happens most likely because of a fluid imbalance. Okay, so I hate bringing this up so many times. And the thing is, there's many other possible symptoms or many other possible causes, right? But typically it's because people get lazy on tracking their sodium. Especially if you're experiencing this problem after 3 to 4 months. But, you need a minimum of 3 grams of salt a day. 3 grams of sodium per day. So, you may not be experiencing the same tiredness and fatigue or cramping or insomnia or constipation, and these are typical symptoms of low sodium. Typically, people only feel these sodium symptoms in the beginning. That's what the keto flu is, but especially if you're feeling fatigue or tiredness or lethargy on a ketogenic diet and you notice dry eyes, that's a clear indication that your body's not regulating fluid properly. And so in that case, what you need to do is you need to be measuring your salt. People always, they're like, oh, but I am eating enough salt. I'm salting my food throughout the day. And almost always the reply to that is, well, that's not enough. So I would say at least 3 teaspoons of salt per day is most likely going to be more than enough. And if you supplement for 4 weeks with 3 teaspoons, 1 tablespoon of salt throughout the day, and you don't experience an improvement in your dry eyes, you should see an improvement within 1 week. Well, then it's not sodium, it's not electrolytes. Obviously, supplement with a minimum of 400 milligrams of magnesium before you go to bed. And then maybe think about taking a 1/4 of a teaspoon of light salt in the morning and 1/4 of a teaspoon of light salt before you go to bed. You don't need as much potassium as most people say, but when you have problems with dry eyes and producing tears, well, that sounds like a fluid problem. So then what about these people like Dave Asprey claiming that you need glucose to create tears? First of all, I'm not aware of any plausible physiological mechanism in which tears are created from glucose. That's like Jesus turning water into wine. It doesn't work. Besides magic, it doesn't make any sense. Tears are fluid, and as far as I'm concerned, as far as I know, they're very much the same as any other body fluid. It's just that they're being released from other physiological triggers, emotions and things like that. And so you want to treat it like any other fluid imbalance. So the reason why people's dry eyes go away when they cycle carbs in is because when you cycle carbs in, what happens when you load up on carbs? What happens? Your body it retains more water. Okay? What happens when you remove carbs for a week? Your body loses water. So, your body actually makes tears from glucose? No. Come on. Come on, really? No. Your body doesn't create tears from glucose. Your body retains water when you have carb ups. It's not glucose creating tears. It's a band-aid to remedy an electrolyte problem that you didn't properly supplement with. So if adding carbs back in your diet relieves your dry eyes. I'm telling you, it's most likely because of fluid retention, okay? Now I'm about to okay, so there's a couple other reasons. There's omega-3. There's omega-3 deficiency. Some people should really be supplementing with cod liver oil. You know, and it can also be a vitamin A deficiency, as many people have pointed out. And look, you can be, you know, eating egg yolks and stuff like that. But liver is going to be a much better source of vitamin A. Liver is a great source of vitamin D. People don't know that. I ate a pound of liver yesterday, tracked it in my chronometer, and I found that I got like 300 IUs worth of vitamin D from that pound of liver. Also got quite a lot of net carbs from the liver. But great source of vitamin A, great source of even things like magnesium. But most importantly, vitamin A. You know, if you have dry eyes and you haven't been eating liver, maybe it's time you try that. But even better would be cod liver oil. So the thing about cod liver oil is it's very high in vitamin A, especially if you get a cod liver oil that is higher in vitamin A than others, or even if it's supplemented with vitamin A. Listen, guys, if you're scared of supplemental vitamins and minerals, especially when you're suffering from some kind of like health problem, you're being ridiculous. Don't worry about, oh, is it natural? Worry about, hey, what type of what function does it serve in my health? What function is what benefit is this going to give me? Okay, you're going to be so much better off if you supplement with high vitamin A and vitamin D cod liver oil than if you did. So cod liver oil, good source of vitamin D, good source of omega-3, good source of vitamin A, and I think it might even be a source of vitamin K2. So you'll be remedying the vitamin A deficiency, and you'll be knocking out the omega-3 deficiency, because omega-3 has a lot of functions involved in the process of tears and inflammation, and more importantly, things like skin and just cosmetic health in general. Your nails, your hair, which I obviously don't have. The point is, yeah, I mean, just give that a try for maybe, 2 to 4 weeks. You should be supplementing with cod liver oil or krill oil, but cod liver oil, you should be supplementing with that anyway. So if none of that works, right, and if you really are on point and you really do make an honest try to measure out your sodium and your potassium, just take small amounts of potassium. Don't overdo it. Like 300 in the morning, 300 before you go to bed. And then about 3 grams of salt throughout the day, 3 grams of sodium, plus the stuff you put on your food. If you do all this and it doesn't work, go right ahead and supplement with carbohydrates. Go right ahead and do carb cycling. But don't fool yourself into thinking that you're on a cyclic ketogenic diet, because when you put carbs into your diet, your body will be kicked out of ketosis, especially if it's too much. So it depends. If you keep it under 50 grams of net carbs, you'll probably be able to maintain a moderate state of ketosis, especially if you exercise, and especially if you supplement with brain octane oil, C8 MCTs or MCT oil in general. But when you start pushing over 100 grams, especially of net carbs, not total carbs, net carbs, and especially if you don't exercise, even if you do supplement with MCT oil, that's pushing it. And it can take up to 3 days for your body to get back into ketosis. And depending on how metabolically flexible, let's use that term, how insulin sensitive you are, it can take a whole nother 2 to 3 weeks for you to adapt back to ketosis. Like, depends on the person, but my experience, even being an athlete and things, whenever I tried like the little carb experiment, never ended well for me. I found that staying in ketosis is the best thing for my mental and physical health, and carbs don't benefit my performance. They don't give me any benefits. They make me feel like crap. So, but you can try that. Just don't think you're hacking ketosis if you're eating over 100 grams of carbs a day. you know, unless you really are strict about whatever protocol you're doing. Like Dave Asprey always talks about in his book, Cycling Ketosis and things. Like using MCT oil and stuff like that, maybe you could. You know, there is a huge benefit in coconut oil and MCTs, especially in this regard. People can maintain a decent amount of ketones in their blood, even on a higher carb diet, as long as they supplement with exogenous ketones and things. But the state of ketosis your body's put in from MCTs and exogenous ketones on a high carb diet, I don't think is equal to the state of ketosis you're in when you keep your net carbs under 50 or your net carbs under 20, you know, especially supplementing with MCTs. So leave your questions, comments down below. Let me know what's worked for you. Let me know your experience, and I'll talk to y'all in the next video.